Consultation Podcast Network.
That's it. I'm sorry to interrupt you. God damn it! You give me my goddamn check right now! Because I want it. So you give it! Now!
Podcast presents Remakeoween.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Blood and Black Rum podcast. I'm Ryan from cultsploitation.com and I'm joined with my co-host Martin.
How's it going?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Sweating my ass off.
I know, it's a very hot one out. Luckily that heat wave is going to be passing us by now. But yeah,
for a couple of days.
Yeah, it's been quite balmy lately. So that has not been fun, and it really does not put you in the Halloween spirit.
When it's 90 degrees out and humid.
We're trying to get into the Halloween spirit because we are still, actually, I would say, into the middle of Remakeoween.
We're going to be at the halfway mark.
And yeah, we're at Remakeoween number 4, and it's still fucking 90 degrees outside. It's not fun. And we're not even drinking in Oktoberfest today, which is surprising. Because it's not surprising. Well, it's not surprising on a 90-degree day, but it is surprising for this period of time since we're almost heading into October and it should be dropping into the 50s and 40s at night, where it's a nice time to enjoy a bonfire and a nutmeggy, spicy Oktoberfest. And it's not that time of year right now, I guess. So we'll get into that a little bit in our beer talk, but yeah, it's been quite balmy and it's hard to get into that Halloween spirit when it's like that. But we do, we're trucking along here. We got to keep going, even though it doesn't feel like it outside. We've got to keep going with our special. So we've got a new remake for you today. We've done this the original film on the show not too long ago, actually, probably a couple months ago now. So we're talking about House on Haunted Hill, the 1999 version, which was probably...
Man, we should have done that for Slasher Month.
Well, we could have done it for the 90s Slasher Month, although I would say it's more of like a supernatural thriller than a slasher.
But the house is the slasher.
That's true.
God damn it, we can consider The Faculty a slasher.
Mm-hmm.
Then we...
Yeah, we cheated a little bit on the faculty.
Then we'll just bend the rules.
Yeah, I mean, House on Haunted Hill, I think, was a big part of movie fans and especially horror fans growing up in the 2000s, because it was one of those films that was very stylized and it took hold, especially when it hit home video and then on like TV syndication, because it did get played on TV quite a bit, despite...
Seems pointless.
Right, I mean, despite some of the nudity and violence that they probably and swearing that they probably had to cut out, it did get played quite a bit. I think I remember one scene that I saw like on Sci-Fi Channel, the scene where there's just the woman that's in the water. And she's naked in the water. And I'm pretty sure that was a scene that they just pretty much blatantly had to blur out, like nipples and butt. Because a lot of times there's some like tricky editing that they can do with films when they hit TV, where they have to, they kind of are able to cut around those areas. That one's not really one you can cut around so much. But I do remember that quite well. And House on Haunted Hill is one of those movies that sits right in with me with 13 Ghosts and also Ghost Ship.
Oh God!
Because they all are very reminiscent of each other. Not only just because they are inspired by previous horror films.
Ghost Ship was made by Dark Castle too, right? 13 Ghosts was, but
I know that 13 Ghosts was. I don't know about Ghost Ship. I'd have to look that up. Because they do all have the same feel to them. And it looks like they did make Ghost Ship as well. So same production company. they do all feel very similar. They all have that same sort of gothic haunted house look to them. They have the same type of ghosts. So they're all very, very similar to each other. And I think they are very nostalgic to me. I don't know about you.
House on Haunted Hill is... I didn't see Ghost Ship until we saw it that one year at your mother-in-law's.
Right, when we were doing the little horror movie fest.
And I don't think I don't think I've seen 13 Ghosts.
Oh, not at all, huh?
I don't think.
I would say that
maybe actually, you know what? Maybe I think I have seen it, but it doesn't resonate.
I mean,
if I saw clips from it, I could probably tell.
I think you definitely could. It's the one where they have to put on the 3D glasses in order to see the ghosts. Does that ring a bell? They have to actually put on like glasses in order to see what's in front of them. Otherwise, it's just it's like invisible. Tony Shalhoub is in it. No, it's not really drawing anything.
Like I said, I'd have to watch like a clip or something.
All right.
Be like, oh yeah,
that could have been another one that we decided to do because that technically is a remake as well. But alas,
well, I'm glad we went with this.
We went with House on Haunted Hill because you're more familiar with it. We did the original House on Haunted Hill previously, so it just fits. It makes sense. So quickly before we really dive into it in the meat of the podcast episode, so you said you've seen it before, and you seem to have some sort of nostalgia for it. Like what makes you come back to House on Haunted Hill, or what really sticks out to you when?
It's one of the movies I can vividly remember as a child scaring the shit out of me.
So it was like
I thought it was fucking being 9 years old watching. I thought it was creepy as hell.
Okay, so you did see it like when it came out, somewhere
right on VHS, yeah.
Oh, the VHS. As
we'll talk about,
has a nice reference to a VHS rental company.
Nice golden time. You know, when we were all innocent.
When we couldn't just pirate films or get them on Netflix or streaming. You had to actually
I remember being like totally creeped out and like the shit scared out of me. Like I thought some of the parts in it, like in the beginning with the whole rioting in the asylum and the orderly getting stabbed in the neck through with like the pencils, that's like creeped the hell out of me. The whole like when Price is in the the medieval torture chamber thing or whatever,
psychotic break, I don't know, chamber that they just like, are you not feeling very well mentally right now? Let's stick you in this really weird spinning thing and hopefully it'll go away or whatever.
I thought that was like creepy as shit as a kid, but it's one of the movies I do remember as like a kid being like, oh, that's not fun.
So it does have a lot of nostalgia for you then, because I don't even know if I saw it that young. I think I saw it later on. Not when I was 9 or 10 or whenever this came out in 1999. So I would have been about 10 years old. I don't think I saw it then, but I saw it a little bit later. And yeah, I can see why this would stick out to you or someone as a younger person, because it does have those moments. As we'll talk about a little bit, it has the spinny head motion moments. The ones where the heads just kind of are a blur as they snap around quickly back and forth. It has that sort of thing that was very prevalent in the 90s, not just
especially in music videos.
Yeah. Not just in horror films, but in music videos. And
which is funny, because the other day I just, like, when I got home from work, I was like, just on a really big Alice in Chains kick. I was listening to like Alice in Chains on YouTube, so I was just like going through their music videos and I was watching them. And just watching them, I was like, my God, how so early 90s the videos are. I mean, granted, that's when like they were made, but just like thinking about it, it's like the shit like they do and like the camera shots and like kind of the style and aesthetic. It's like you could like watch a Blind Melon video, you could watch an REM video, you could watch them all, and like they all have that same fucking look and appeal. Same thing, like you could watch like a Tom Petty video from that 94 when he like It's Good to Be King. It looks exactly like a fucking 90s video. I love it. I absolutely love wow, bringing back memories, having like MTV on or VH1 like the living room and just like they're just playing music videos all day and here's all the shit that's going on.
I wonder why we had that fascination with heads whipping around and spinning around and morphing the facial features. So that seemed like it was a big thing at that time. It's kind of gone away now. I think we find that more cheesy than anything else.
I do think there, and we'll talk about it when we get to the actual review, but I do think after watching this movie again, there's a lot of aesthetics from this film that I think have been kind of carried on and lifted through certain franchises.
You mean as in like they took inspiration from stuff like this and then like went further with it?
Yeah.
With what they could do now? Okay. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to...
I don't know, like, if... And I can't really think of any, like, film off the top of my head from around this time period that's kind of got the overall same aesthetics. I mean, there are some things, like the consistent fucking green lighting, you know.
Well, I would definitely say that it's any of the Dark Castle pictures are very, very similar in terms of production design and ghost appearances, stuff like that. In terms of the actual, I think I know what you mean when you say they've lifted some of the ideas from this and like how ghosts look and how they are shown and stuff like that. I think I know what you're talking about. So we'll get into that a little bit later in the show. First, let's take a break, and then we'll come back and we'll talk about the beer that we have and the special occasion that brings it to us, because I do want to bring attention to how I got this beer as well. So stay with us.
Hey! Do you like jokes?
I love jokes.
Do you like video games?
Yeah, I love video games.
Do you like geek culture and really cool awesome shit?
Well, fuck yeah, I do.
Do you like murder?
What?
Check out Game Over, Game On. They're on podcast services around the globe.
What did you say?
Also, follow them on YouTube under The Go-Go Show.
It says something about murder.
Smash that motherfucking like button.
No, it was definitely murder. You said murder.
No, I didn't. And if you get lost, go to GameOverGameOn.com. It keeps the demons away.
The fuck are you talking about?
Hope to hear from you soon.
You will not. You will not hear from me soon. I'm calling the police.
No, you won't.
All right, guys, so we're back for beer talk. And today we have a new beer on the show, thanks to Hopsy, which is a new growler. It's actually, they're technically growlets, but it's a growler distribution that you can order online, and it sends local beers to your door. So this was kind of cool because, you know, I use Untapped quite a bit. And Untapped, I just like to check into beer. I like to know what I've had, what I want to try, and it helps me sort through that. So, but after a while, after I checked into a few things, they sent me a promo code for Hopsy, and so I looked at it, and it was a promo code for a pack of 4 growlets that you get to select from 3 different packs that Hopsy offers. They offer like a hoppy pack. There's like a New York selections pack, and then I think there's just one that's like selections from the people who run Hopsy. So you know, you could leave it up to them. You don't really know what you're getting. So I picked the hoppy packs because I like pale ales and IPAs and stuff like that. And it's been fucking warm lately, so might as well go with something like that. So I used my promo code, brought it down to trial. The trial pack was only $20. $20 for 4 growlets, 32 ounces each. And, you know, you get it shipped to your door and free shipping as well, which normally there's probably like a $15 delivery cost for for shipping, because they ship it cold packed. You get like 2 big ice packs with it in the package. You get it's like a huge box. Comes with like this foamy stuff to keep it cold. So they're spending a lot of money on just the shipping itself. So $20 for 4 growlets, pretty good deal.
Now, my question I have is, how can they? I don't know, but how do they ship alcohol? Like, what kind of license do you need for that?
I'm not really sure, but I mean, I know you can ship alcohol. It depends on the state.
Just because, like, to me, like, I think that's something like brewers should do. Well, like when you go to their store, like online, Like, wouldn't it be great? Like, if you,
I think that's where Hopsy comes in because they are doing the shipping for the breweries, although they were filled locally at the brewery.
and not only that, I would say not only that, it also gets like it's complicated too, especially like in New York. 'Cause I know, like, when I worked at Stewart's, like they had a one-way license. They could bring, the Stewart's trucks could bring us whatever that we ordered in booze. But if something was broken and damaged, you couldn't have them take it back.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't authorized to
Yeah,
carry it. You'd have to wait for a vendor to come that carried the product to then deal with it.
I mean, I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure that like Hopsy's the middleman. So you're ordering a beer, and you know which beer you want from which local brewery. You can order it from Hopsy, and they will fill it for you from the brewery and then send it to you. So I think they're the middleman in that. Sometimes small breweries don't have the manpower or the upfront, overhead to ship growlers out to you, but Hopsy can because they have the licensing and they have the packaging.
But I think like a bigger brewer like Sam Adams.
Well, yeah, I mean, Sam
That'd be
Adams
like-
probably could do it.
I mean, that'd be nice. One of the things I've always wanted to try from is like their Boston Ale.
I just don't think
just
you
because,
would want to, because it would probably cost you more to have them ship a growler to you because they need to
even
keep
if
it
it's like
cold.
even if it's just like a 6-pack.
Yeah, I mean, they need to keep it cold.
They don't have to keep it
Yeah,
cold.
they don't have to, I guess,
especially
but-
if it's in a 6-pack and bottle and it's already packaged and right. Just fucking ship it to me.
Yeah.
So like again, like I said, like a Sam Adams Boston Ale, you can't get it around here. You have to like literally go to fucking Boston to get it.
I have had it.
And I've always wanted to try it just because it's like, let's see what that's like.
It's one thing you haven't had, yeah.
And I'll never probably be able to get it. Be like the same thing with like some of the Genesee stuff, like the pilot badge stuff that you can't really get around here. That I have to like drive out like an hour plus to get. But if I could just go on like their website and just have them like ship a 6-pack to me.
Right. It would be nice. I think hopefully this is the start of something like that. I've checked out Hopsy a little bit besides the trial pack that I've gotten, and it looks pretty cool. Like you can order quite a few local beers on there, and I think they're still expanding. So it seems pretty new. They're still experimenting with what they can do. So it's still expanding, and I would really like to see it get even bigger, where maybe some of the smaller breweries that you just really would not be able to get unless you were either in the area or you happen to find something like that.
Have a friend that went to the
Right,
area
exactly.
and you're like, hey, I brought you something.
Yeah, I would like to see that happen. I think Hopsy can do that. It seems pretty cool to me. And from what I saw with the trial pack that I got, for $20, you get a lot with it. I mean, not even just talking about the actual packaging itself, which I imagine costs a lot of money for them to have to continuously do with like sending out just free ice packs. Even thinking about that, it's like 2 large ice packs that you then get to keep, which will come in handy for you when you're like trying to pack your own beer in a cooler or something like that. I want to keep it warm. So
And I'll be keeping the growlers too.
exactly. And you keep the growlers, and they come with a special label that says, brewed at, and then the brewery that you get, but then it's also packaged by Hopsy. So I think it's a really cool idea, and I'm super open to trying it out more. The one thing that obviously is going to impact people ordering from this, because the pricing looks pretty good, except for the delivery costs, which, obviously they have to recoup some of their money on the delivery costs. So it's a little pricey for the delivery, but I would assume that if you were to order multiple growlers at the same time, you could save money on the actual delivery, making it more worth your while. If you're ordering multiple ones at once, and the delivery cost stays the same, that would be the best option.
But like I said, I do think it is worth it. Like again, if you want to try something like we can't get around here, like we only get a very limited of what we have today.
Yeah, I mean,
like only like 2 or 3 different 6-packs. So like, if you really want to try it,
I think
you'd be like, yeah,
you would spend the money. Right, exactly. So my experience with Hopsies, it was very good. Everything comes labeled clearly, in the growlers, which ones are which. They sent some really cool ones. I've never had any of the 4 that I got, so that was really nice too, because you're always taking like a crapshoot. It's like, well, I hope it's not something that I get all the time, I hope it's not like a Browns or something. No offense to Browns, but that's pretty readily available to me, so I would like something that's not so easily available, and they did that. So I ended up getting some from Bronx Brewery, from Newburgh, and a couple others that I've never even heard of. So that was a really nice surprise too, that they got me stuff that I've never had before. And the one that we have on the show tonight is Bronx Brewery beer. Now, we've done Bronx Brewery before. We did
The rye.
their rye pale ale, I think it was.
Yep.
I think. And I liked what I've had from them. So this time they sent the summer pale ale with lemon. And that isn't actually kind of nice. So that's why I opened it up right away, because it has been 90 degrees out, and it's more in line with a summer ale than with anything else, like an Oktoberfest.
Which I find kind of weird that a lot of, well, I guess it's not weird now that I think about it, because I say a lot of summer ales are more wheat ales, and I was going to say it's kind of weird that they call them ales, like it's like, oh, it's a summer ale, but it's a wheat ale. So.
It is, yeah, it's still.
But I mean, like, when I think of like an ale, like off the top of my head, I think pale ale,
right?
So.
Right. So this one is a pale ale. So their summer ale is a pale ale. With just a hint of lemon, and I think it's a pretty good beer. It's not super hoppy.
No,
it's very mild.
Lemon's pretty mild too, but
right.
But I think it definitely does have enough of a citrusy, and not in the way of like hop citrusiness, but just like an overall like general citrus flavor, like more like a little bit more than lemon, like just I don't know which like citrus to kind of choose, but it's like a very general like oh you're like oh yeah, it's like tart,
right?
So sweet.
5.2 ABV, so it's very light and drinkable. I would say it's very drinkable. You downed yours,
and so did you.
Yeah, we both did. On a hot summer night, it's not really summer, it's fall, but on a hot summer night, it was definitely a thirst quencher. And I think that's what you're looking for with a summer ale.
I do like the fact, like, even though I do like wheat ales, I do enjoy the fact that it's
something different.
It's not, bready.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's not, like I said, it's not heavy at all. It's very light, refreshing, citrusy. I think it hits all the right notes for what you're looking for. I would like to see a little bit more pronounced lemon.
I would too,
because they do like on the tag that came with the growlette. It does say with lemon, meaning like that's kind of a focal point.
Kind of like I think the best that I can think of so far when it comes to that is I think we talked about that we didn't do a full review because it was like something like a little shout out because we had it at Project 29, our local brew pub, was Southern Tier's lemon, Sundrop.
Yep, that's probably the best summer ale that contains like a high amount of lemon. That's not a shandy.
Yeah,
that's
got that right amount of sweetness. Like it's pronounced, it's there. It's very refreshing, but it's also not like overwhelming. Like you're drinking like you said, like shandy, like
right.
Lemon shandy or a porch rocker.
Yep, it's not an aid, I wouldn't say. But I think this one's good, and I like I said, a little bit more lemon would be fine to add to this, especially since it's supposed to be a focal point. But I think that it's overwhelmingly just a very drinkable summer ale. And that's the most important thing. I do like that it didn't go overboard with the hops. As a pale ale, sometimes you run the risk of just going overboard and say, well,
basically
fuck
making
it's going to be an IPA.
Yeah, basically making
So Bronx does not do that. Honestly, I think this is probably going to be a hard beer to find now. I think they're probably either they're trying to get rid of it. It's the end of the season. That was probably like the last of the.
Well, as you said, there's still some of the restaurants you go to, like, hey, what's your Sam seasonal? Like, oh, we still got the summer ale.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is probably the end of what their batches have. What they have for batches. If you're gonna order from Hopsy and you probably do it, I would say in the next couple of weeks, they're probably going to do a shift. If you're ordering that 4-pack of hoppy ales like I did, I would say that a summer ale is probably not going to make it onto there at this point.
Now,
it'll be something else.
To give them more praise, like I like to talk about like the idea, like if they had like a fall pack, like see that would get me to spend like the money.
Absolutely.
Like hey, like we got all these different Oktoberfests like that are new, and that would be like, here's my money.
Perusing the site, I did not see anything like that right now, but that would be something. I'm gonna tag them in our podcast episode on Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that, so they kind of see this. No, not as a sponsor, but just as an FYI that we covered it on here, and then also hopefully they take some considerations into, like you said, like a 4-pack of Oktoberfest or something like that.
Be great.
That would be really great, because not only are you hitting like local breweries, like I don't know of a Bronx Oktoberfest, haven't seen one, don't know if it's around. They probably have one, but it's not out here. We don't get any bottles or cans of it, so that would be really cool, because we don't have any other way of getting that except if we made the trip down there. And I don't see that happening anytime soon, like in the near future for Oktoberfest. So
we can do it in November.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I want to go see Ben Montench.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Well, by that time, they'll be into winter.
They might not be.
So
they might be smart.
But it's a good idea. I like that idea. It would make it, if you're ordering like a 4-pack, it would make it worth it to buy the 4-pack in the
or like if there's like something random too, like white IPA. Hey, we got like white IPAs.
Yeah,
like that's my favorite IPA style. I'm like sign me up.
I do think they have a monthly pack too. So another good option is for like somebody to go in halvesies. Like you and I go in halvesies on it, and then because we ended up sharing gear anyway.
Yeah.
So that's like the perfect opportunity.
Now, is it like a monthly subscription you can sign up for?
Yeah,
kind of like a loot crate thing.
Yeah, basically, I think they do have one. Yep.
Do you know how much it is off the top of your head?
I think it was $40. I'm not sure though. I would have to check on, because I don't remember. I was just doing I did a lot of research on it on one day, so I don't remember exactly the price ranges and things like that.
Still sounds like a great deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds really cool.
For 4.32 ounce growlets.
They definitely are very interested in promoting your local breweries. So it depends on your area too. What they have. Mm-hmm. So you have to put in I'm from New York, so you get the local breweries from your area. It would be nice too if you could branch out sometimes and be like, well, I love local beers. I do. But I want to support other people's local beers.
Well, like I said, that might be where the issues come in. I think there has to be certain licenses, and every state's got different laws on the transportation of alcohol. So if we wanted to get stuff from Vermont.
Yeah, there might be an issue with
there
that.
would probably be an issue, so...
we should get, Stump City on there. If they don't know about it, they should. You know what I mean? We should stop in.
We haven't been there in
We haven't been
a while.
in a while. It's our, if you're listening, that's our local brewery that just started up not too long ago. Very, very small. Pretty much like a backwoods affair. You know what I mean? Very small shed-like...
That's great.
Bar.
And we have talked about it before on
I think we should stop in on a Saturday and just say, hey, have you heard about Hopsy? Because you should look into it. Distributing your beer to those people that are around the New York area, ordering from Hopsy.
The more people who know about their K-Adetta cream ale, the better.
That's right. All right, let's take a break. We'll jump right into House on Haunted Hill when we come back.
Sweet dreams are made of this, people.
Hi, this is Derek from The Wild Pitch, and I'd like to talk to you about something that's very important to me. My podcast, The Wild Pitch. Now, since you clearly don't have access to a skip button, listen to this.
Eat as many brats as possible.
And this. An in-home cat communication system that allows your feline friends to talk to you through a series of intricate bell rings and button presses. And how about that?
I imagine it would be about as satisfying as drinking orange juice after having a burrito.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, I don't know, stare into the sun and you might hear it. It'll buzz in your ears.
All right, guys, we're back with House on Haunted Hill from 1999. The remake of House on Haunted Hill, the one that we've done previously on the show.
From 1958.
From 1958 with Vincent Price. All right, so first of all, this film has a lot of homages to the original House on Haunted Hill.
In tits?
I guess. No, I mean...
No, that's a joke.
What I mean is the obvious reference to Vincent Price himself with the main character, Stephen and Evelyn Price. They are pretty much... I mean, Stephen specifically is basically Vincent Price.
Yeah, Jeffrey Rush is playing Vincent Price, essentially.
Yeah, I don't know that he does a great job. I think he's hamming it up, but I think the ham is a little too over the top sometimes.
Because Vincent Price wasn't hammy.
No, I definitely agree he was hammy. I just
You
I don't know if he's great at the impersonation.
I
don't know
mean,
if
it's
he
not
hits
a
it.
good impersonation. I appreciate and I enjoy it though.
You just you like it just because it's.
To be fair, to be honest, I think most of the cast in this is pretty good.
Yeah, I think they do.
Except for some one or two odd choices.
Well, I mean, I think they do a pretty good job of I don't know. I mean, of being scared in the house and kind of they hit that over the top nature. I think on purpose sometimes. I mean, some of it is very much supposed to be campy and cheesy.
Well, the original was campy and cheesy.
Yeah,
especially now. The whole, as we talked about when we reviewed it, the whole like dancing skeleton on wires.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely were trying to incorporate that campiness in, like even at the beginning of this film, when there's that full, like almost documentary, like exploitative documentary of the mental institution burning down, complete with like
Peter Graves.
Peter Graves doing the
which at the time, did he have a show like kind of like unsolved?
Probably it was kind of like Unsolved Mysteries, sort of,
and Rescue 911.
Yeah, it was basically something like akin to that. Definitely looks straight out of like an Unsolved Mysteries. Because I've been watching a lot of Unsolved Mysteries lately, and I definitely look like it to me.
Well,
they hit that pretty well. But I like
we can't blame you. Everyone loves Robert Stack.
I mean, I like all of like the little like newspaper spins that come out. You know, they spin in. It has some outlandish headline.
I was joking with you when they like after the whole riot on the sanatorium, asylum, they had it's like a 1930s newsreel. It's like LA 1931. It's like, where's Cole Phelps?
Yeah, pretty much.
Even though it's 15 years before LA Noire, I understand, but still, it's like,
right.
Where's Cole Phelps?
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, they did a pretty good job.
It'd be great now seeing if like they remake it now and have like Cole Phelps in the scene, like picking up like a random like charred hand. It'd be like, I don't know, Cole.
Yeah, I think they did a pretty good job with like that noir style.
Not only that, it's so the beginning and like the whole building itself is so Art Deco.
Yeah,
and not even like it's like kind of like a style, art style of like the 20s and 30s. Like it's like literally we're watching Batman and like, let's put Arkham Asylum on a fucking random cliffside.
They gotta have like a really foreboding like almost, it's like, and what it is too is like very nonchalant, like very it's like white and pillory, and it doesn't really look like anything. Doesn't look like a building.
No, like again, like what I said, like why would you put a fucking asylum on like some ridiculously high perched cliffside?
Well, because there was nowhere to go. It's like Alcatraz. You either stay in the asylum or you try to escape and jump off the cliff into.
What a fucking terrible idea that is.
Yeah.
Not only that, the one thing, I mean, this is why people find, mental institutions fucking scary and creepy. Movies like this. Even like in the when we like they're showing the bit, the rioting from the 1930s, the place looks run down, creepy, terribly lit and scary, Alrighty, I mean, granted, asylums at the time were not great.
Well, they obviously had some of those qualities, yeah.
But obviously, shitholes for the most part. Like, we don't know what's causing the demons in this person. We got this new thing called lobotomy. We're gonna, and
crack their skull open and
take part of the brain out. And, hey, now they're acting all calm.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't the bastion of good scientific medicine. I would say that, and I think that is part of the idea behind House on Haunted Hill, is that they get a lot of the spooks from just the setting alone, and that they turned it into an insane asylum, and they brought everybody there. And
which I do think it's a good, I think that's a good idea and a good setup. Like I said, it's just a naturally creepy.
It's a more elaborate take on William Castle's House on Haunted Hill.
The original, which was just, it's a haunted mansion.
Right. I mean, it definitely adds layers to it because then you have a lot more to work with in terms of people that died, the ghosts that are surrounding the area.
The one thing I'll say that I don't understand is why the patients rioting in the building, why are they acting like zombies?
Yeah.
Like the way they're kind of clawing and tearing at people. It's like, is it supposed to be a zombie film? I don't know.
You mean in the first opening scene?
Yeah, in
where
the
they actually riot?
Yeah, in the opening, and
I don't really know.
And not only that, like in the whole premise of it being this crazed Dr. Vinod or Vincoud or whatever the
Vanica.
whatever the fuck his name is,
Vanica.
Not important.
Yeah,
it's really not important. It's because it's like, well, why is he crazy? Why is he doing these crazy things? Is it just because it's a fucking asylum from the 30s, so they're obviously doing crazy and creepy things?
It's just because. Yeah.
And they don't go into detail. Why did he plan this riot, to apparently happen between the patients and to have the building get locked down and everyone die in it? We don't know, it just is. Because Chris Kattan speaks in only, he plays... Chris Kattan's whole goal in this movie is to play the pronoun game. It, that, the evil,
Yeah. Well, I think that part of it is like Dick Beebe writing the screenplay.
What a name.
There's really no rhyme or reason to the asylum, and they kind of just needed a reason to set this film in an asylum. Like, I think the idea was pretty much like,
gotta make it
House on Haunted Hill was set in like a regular haunted house. I mean, that's scary.
Where murders type.
Right, there is a murder there. But what would be scarier is if it was in an insane asylum, because people find insane asylums very scary. So let's set it there, and then let's work around to like why it would be haunted. And so I think that was really the idea. Like, it would have been even better probably than to have like that opening scene of like mass murder for no reason, the rioting that's not really explained. It would have been better if it just was like a very traumatic fire that occurred there. Like a fire took place and everybody burned to death. That sucked. And now they're back. And that would have been probably reason enough to have a haunted insane asylum where murders are also taking place.
Well, I think the premise itself with I think the idea itself with like this crazed doctor and all of that, I think it's actually a nice, unique twist and reinvention of the original. I just don't think they don't do enough to go elaborate. They don't. This is a case. Usually on here we kind of bitch about films going way too into detail and exposition, and okay, you're not benefiting by over-explaining things. Here, they do really need to elaborate. Like, it's like come on,
Well, that opening scene of the riot taking place is like 2 minutes, maybe. You know what I mean? It's very, very quick. And I just think that over the course of the film, there was some room to go into detail. Like, what happened? Why would they do that? There are some flashback scenes where Stephen Price is in a, I guess it's what they would call like a psychotic immersion chamber. And he has some sort of like flashbacks to seeing things that may have occurred or may be haunting.
While the ghosts are also haunting him at the same time too. Like, that's like just convoluted.
Yeah, right.
And not well explained at all.
Yeah. But I think like at that point there could have been a little bit more explanation done there. So there were areas where they could have worked in like more explanation as to like what happened, why was the evil always there to begin with, or was it only there after that whole riot / fire took place? A lot of that stuff is really left open to interpretation, and I don't think that it's not like helpful in this scenario.
And not only that, if Pritchard played by Chris Kattan, if he hates this place, knows it's haunted, and thinks the building's a lie, why hasn't he just fucking sold it?
Yeah, I mean, he knows everything about this place.
Yeah.
He not only knows that it's just regularly haunted.
He's afraid of it.
Yeah, he knows that it's not just like ghosts that are in there and stuff. He knows that there's like a fucking black spirit entity thing that haunts the one room that has never been opened. He knows it's there, and he's basically waiting for these people to open it. Because he says, at one point he says, well, you were just playing with the ghosts. You haven't even encountered the darkness yet.
The true evil.
So he fucking knows it's there. He knows that people are probably going to stumble upon it and open it. And he basically just dives into drinking, which is probably what I guess what I would do if I was stuck in a house with sucky people for an entire night.
I would have been hitting on Famke Janssen the entire night.
Famke Janssen? Yeah.
Like, hey, I saw you in GoldenEye. Sup?
Well, he did a little bit.
He tried miserably. Even so, Chris Kattan, I can imagine, has no game.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably not.
Especially from what I've heard in interviews with like Norm Macdonald, David Spade, like and like Norm like pissing Chris off, like and like apparently Chris Kattan's goal when he was on SNL was to get every chick, like hot chick that was like hosting on there, to be in a scene with him where he has like, I want to kiss you. And Norm called him out on it, and Chris didn't like it.
I haven't heard that, but
just YouTube it. It's funny.
I'm not well versed in Chris Kattan lore. I guess
it's just more. Just gotta like listen to Norm Macdonald interviews because Norm Macdonald's a fucking national treasure, even though he's Canadian.
Well, I think that here, Chris Kattan, if we're talking about him right now, he's probably just drinking this entire movie.
Well, that's why I said him and Famke Janssen are literally.
You cannot say her name.
No, because I'm not Dutch.
I love how you.
It's like the fourth
you're
film.
basically Stephen Brule, and you're just like making up a how to say it. It's Famke Janssen.
Famke.
Yes.
Funky.
Which I think it is, but yeah.
No, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's
My
all
bad.
Right. Just refer to her as Miss Janssen or something like that.
Ooh.
Ms. Janssen.
Yeah. You know what? You can't all be perfect like you. I'm sorry. I'm not up on my Flemish because I don't know how to say Dutch names. My bad.
I just wanted to point that out.
Well, people can't say your name.
That's true. That's
and you
true.
know what?
I let them go.
Yeah.
If they can't say my name.
Not a big deal.
So. But were you?
But her and Chris Kattan's literally their roles in this, and they probably did no prepping or anything. They just show up on set. They had like bottles of vodka and scotch lying around, which again I find very hard that Chris Kattan is like a scotch drinker. But they're just sitting there, just drinking the entire time.
Yeah.
We're just drinking.
I mean, it definitely seems like Chris Kattan is on something here because he's very animated.
He's always very animated.
No, I know. I mean, I just like how
that's his whole claim to fame is being.
In this, he's a little
spazzy.
bit more animated and darkly spazzy. Whereas in like some of the other stuff, he's more.
Why he was casted. See, like when I said I thought the film was casted, pretty well. It's mainly like why is like Chris Kattan's one like why is he here?
He gets an and as well in the
but
credits.
he's also which makes no sense too because he's like probably the third most important character in the film.
Yeah,
our heroes of the film aren't nearly as important as him.
Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, I mean because he survives quite a bit. I mean he survives for most of the movie. So like some of the other characters like I'm thinking like Melissa Marr who's basically like a failed TV game show host and stuff like that.
Played by Bridget Wilson. From Billy Madison.
Yeah. I mean, for like though that character is not very important whatsoever. I mean, barely a character.
Well, she looks a lot. By the way, I know it's like 5 years difference between this and Billy Madison. She looks a lot different. Like you can tell the '90s caught up to her.
Yeah. Well, this is even though we're in the 1999 at this point, this is one of those films that, like we talked about in our 90s slasher movies,
riddled.
Yep, like the 90s, like we're not at that point yet where 2000 or where like 90s have kind of blown themselves out. We're at like peak 90s fashion. Famke Janssen is rocking a very slight eyebrow, very very thin. We've got
total 90s haircut too, like the way the bangs and
we've got Ali Larder playing like one of the actual mains, one of the ones who actually kind of surprisingly surviving, because it doesn't really seem.
You gotta have one girl survive.
Well, I know, but it doesn't really seem like she's even that important.
No,
for
she's
some of
not.
the
That's
film.
why I'm saying it's weird. For at the end of the day, like you said, Chris Kattan gets an and, but again, it's like he's a much bigger part in this film than
it's very weird. But Ali Larter is rocking like a belly shirt and very terrible slacks or whatever you want to call
pleather.
Yeah, I don't know what you want to call them, but not attractive. You know, the thing that really it's stupid, but it bugs me is that the pants look like they don't have a button on them. So there's like a little V that occurs at the button line
for vagina,
and it's a very weird. I don't know why anybody would have thought that was like a fun thing. Like, you know what would look good is if like it looked like this pant doesn't have a button on it.
It just makes it easier to go clubbing.
I guess so.
When you're done clubbing, just
rip them right off. No, but this is one of those films that really sits very, very neatly in the 90s fashion sense.
Taye Diggs is here.
Taye Diggs is here. Like you said.
And no dig, and I got nothing against Taye Diggs, but it's like, literally, it's like, why is Taye Diggs here?
Like you said, this is one of those films, again, that needed profile black man.
Very common at the time.
Yep. Especially for most slasher horror movies. Talking about, like, you know, Halloween Resurrection, Halloween H2O, Halloween, or
Scream 3.
Scream 3. I mean, it was just a very common thing for whatever reason. I don't know why, but
and I mean, he's not bad in this, but he doesn't have anything to do.
Again, yeah, I think again that's the biggest issue is that I think you did get a good amount of information about Evelyn and Steven because they're the main focus in that they fight, they hate each other. Obviously, they both have motivation to kill each other, and that's a big part of the storyline is that they both want to kill each other in some way, and
which is from the original too.
Yep, it's carried over. And I think that you get some good information about Blackburn too, because he's like the love interest for Evelyn and the reason why she's put this together.
Also from the original.
Yep. So those things, those are well done. Those characters are I would say fairly fleshed out. Not, you know, it's still not great, but you actually get some
Blackburn not as
development for
much,
them.
but I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think you get some development for them, and you know, in small part Pritchett as well. Even though, you know, he's actually somewhat of a major character because he pretty much is the character that has all of the answers.
And
so
he's the exposition machine.
And he's the exposition machine, and also the person who conveniently does not tell people what they need to know.
Like I said, he plays the pronoun game.
Yeah. But the rest of the cast...
But I will say, I think Jeffrey Rush as Stephen Price, I think he's great.
I mean, okay.
Look, I don't think he does a good, like, Vincent Price. Like, it's not terribly, like, great, but I can see the inspiration when he's trying to go for it. I think he's really good. I think Famke Janssen, I like her. I love her and everything. She's great. Childhood crush right there.
I mean, I like her and everything. I will say that I think probably House on Haunted Hill is a weaker role for her, and that I don't know if that's her fault. I think that's more so.
And I think that's more just again like she was just to show up, drink, and look hot.
Yeah, I don't think that's her fault.
Yeah, but it's still fine by me.
Yeah,
so it's like those two and Peter Gallagher as Blackburn, and he doesn't really have much to do, but he's like just got that such sophisticated demeanor and
right.
The way he carries himself, So if you've seen Peter Gallagher and other things, like if you've seen him in like the OC on Fox, and that used to be a thing, or Mr. Deeds as the smug villain bastard,
Yeah, I mean,
he's great. He's absolutely great, and I think in this, what little he's given to doing this, he's does a really good job. So I think when I talk about casting being good, I think those three are pretty good and pretty inspired, to be honest with you. Because to be honest with you, I think out of all the people in this film that kind of seem like, yeah, they belong here, Famke Janssen and Ali Larter. I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah,
yes.
So those are the only two, because she would later go on to do Final Destination. Before that, she did Varsity Blues. So she fits in here, but it's not like she's really doing much. But the rest of them are kind of like,
Well, and I will say
again,
Jeffrey Combs as well, because he's very well known for.
And Lisa Loeb. Why is Lisa Loeb in here?
Yeah,
doesn't even look like Lisa Loeb.
Lisa Loeb and James Marsters, they actually get like, I would say semi-top billing for being in the film for like not even 5 minutes, and it's a very strange like. And James Marsters, I have to say, a lot of people probably would be like, who's James Marsters? He's not very well known, especially in like the United States, except for Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So if anybody knows him from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which would have been 1999, would still have been on, I believe.
Would be hitting its stride.
Right, exactly. It's almost like a very strange thing to have them on on film, on screen for like 3 minutes. I don't know why that was like.
On the Incredible Hulk roller coaster.
Yes, for sure. This film does make use of the Incredible Hulk roller coaster. I don't know. There's probably one in like Los Angeles too.
It's from. I read online. It is Universal Florida. Shot that.
Oh, Universal Florida. It was. Yeah. So I knew right from looking at it that is the Incredible Hulk roller coaster because they've been on it multiple times and looked very familiar. So they definitely just rebranded that as the new Stephen Price roller coaster that's terrifying for everybody to ride on, and they added some sort of elevator or some shit to it to make it look even higher.
It's like a Tower of Terror.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of weird, but that's an interesting moment. So what do you think of like the ghosts that are in this film? Because this is really not like the original film. It's more focused on the murderous rampage that the characters do rather than the actual ghosts. Because in House on Haunted Hill in the original, you're kind of left wondering like,
if it's really ghosts,
are there really ghosts there,
or if it's just it's more of a crime drama,
right?
Like a pulpy crime drama with horror elements.
Yeah.
This is definitely more of we're going to try to be a horror film.
Right.
Especially with that, again, rioting, opening, and burning, and like the effects they use, and all, the setting and all that. They're trying to make it more of a horror film, and it's definitely more supernatural. There literally is, without a shadow of a doubt, supernatural shit going on here.
Yeah, we see ghosts. We see that happening. We know that both the characters are... that have set this up, because Stephen Price has set up his own little gag, and Evelyn has set up her own little gag. We know both of them are like, what's happening? Because they're unsure of like what's happening that's ghostly and what's happening that the other person has set up. So that's apparent. And we see ghosts on screen, like in security camera footage and stuff like that. So no question.
So I do like the fact that this does go more of a supernatural route, and makes it literally about ghosts and the whole whodunit murder mystery kind of takes it back. See, not because I think it's a weakness from the first film, I don't, but I think if you're going to remake this film, especially with modern, you can do more better, much better effects and gore. That's what you have to do. And
you need something more than just the mystery and the double crossing, because if you're following from the original film, the double crossings are kind of apparent already. Like if you're coming into this, you've already seen the original House on Haunted Hill, this is a remake, you're probably going to be expecting that there's double crossings, that both Evelyn and Steven are doing their own sort of fake outs. So you kind of get that. I think that this goes in an acceptable direction with the ghost, because I do like that it kind of tosses both of that into play, because then the audience is kind of there's no expectation at that point. So there are multiple scenes where, seeing this for the first time, you would think maybe Steven died after he gets shot by bullets, because that's a brave thing to do, to just accept that Ali Larder's character is not going to shoot him in the head or the arm or anywhere else that he's not wearing a bodysuit.
And one of the things that they do, the twist from the original, it really was blanks in the gun.
Right.
And here, they're actually loaded.
Yeah.
And that's because you get the double cross, because in the original, it's just Vincent Price put blanks in the gun, so they really weren't supposed to harm anybody. In this, Jeffrey Rush put blanks in the gun, but Evelyn,
She swapped them out. She
was able to swap them, and because the clips are supposed to be welded, there's actually live ammo in the guns, all the guns.
It's
so which is nice, but I think where the whole part, it all comes apart at the fact that I wish, again, like this is a film, I think, even though it's an hour and 30, it almost feels like it should be longer, or they should have done a better job at like having things explained. Like it would have been better to see more actual traps that Evelyn and Steven set within the house, and like how they panned out.
Well, yeah,
and here, all you really see is like some concrete fall that like they dodge. It's like, oh, that was one of Steven's traps. Like, haha, but it's very glossed over. Mm-hmm. I think it would have been cool to see more of the actual traps they set up for one another, and have like the ghost kind of tricking them at the same time, and like causing other things. And so you have like later on in the film, like have it be more of a what the hell's going on, not really kind of jump into like, oh, the guy that was watching the cameras for Steven, he's dead now.
Right.
That because that's all that happens really quick.
Yeah, and then you would have more of a, the ghosts would work themselves into the plot later on.
Instead of just basically being there. And so it's I think the whole, like you said, I think it's a very good idea. I think it's just not executed well at all. And I think it's really a bummer. I think the whole setting, the style and feel, it all has great potential. It's very flat. Again, like with going with the setting of the insane asylum, and it's being Art Deco and the way it looks, it's a great idea. This could be very creepy and intense.
And they definitely,
but most of the sets on this look like like very like like you can tell like cheap and on a soundstage, and not like, and like some of it's like just kind of like really like not even scary. It's like, hey, we saw this in like a Resident Evil game. Let's have glass monuments with like this like Mortal Kombat Outworld Resident Evil like decaying carved up body that would be. Why is that there?
Right.
Like, yeah, the doctor's crazy and he did like experiments and stuff, but like they don't ever go enough into detail. So why the hell is that there? Like nobody was like doing like one-overs on that asylum and being like, so Doc, why you got that body all hollowed out riding a dog that's been mutilated?
Right, yeah, and I think that they could have done more with that, and I would have liked to have seen some of the ghost stuff kind of put aside until the very end, because once that comes into play, the expectation is, even if Evelyn and Steven have both been doing things to each other, it doesn't really matter at this point, because we know that there's something more evil at work here. And even like it makes it so that what Pritchett says we know is exactly true. He's not just, everybody else thinks he's crazy, and as an audience member, we should at first think he's crazy as well. We should at first be like really skeptical, like, no, there's nothing haunted happening here. I know that both of these people really hate each other, and they hate each other so much that they'd bring other people into it just for the for the fun, for the fun of it. And I think you don't get much of that. I would have wanted to have seen more, but I do like that they incorporated an actual supernatural aspect to it, because it does add. I think there are some scenes here. Some of them don't work as well, but some of them do. I think some of the more spooky scenes, the ones that really do work, occur like when Melissa has her camera and she's filming a scene that's right out of like the past, where she's seeing
because they had her shown earlier, like during the rioting, like when Jeffrey Combs is doing the surgery on like the live patient, like dissecting them, like you got like one of the nurses like sitting there with a hand crank, filming it, and so like when she's doing it, it's like she's in that position, and the ghost is showing that to her. No, that you're right, that is really cool. I think like the whole when they find the camera and like having like the POV and not just like kind of seeing like the blood and like her body get dragged, like that is really cool.
There are some stylistic aspects of it that do really work. I think those are some of the creepier aspects of it. Even just sometimes like seeing the ghosts when they are on camera or like on security footage, something like that. works until they incorporate some of like the more stylized haunting aspects of these ghosts, like when they have like constant head spins and facial.
It's like out of a fucking 9 Inch Nails video.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they have those types of things. I think they haven't aged well. They have become a little bit more what we consider cheesy, and we've moved away from those into more like Insidious territory or The Conjuring territory, where we've kind of taken the idea of like demonic ghostly faces that have been that occur in stuff like House on Haunted Hill, 13 Ghosts. We kind of morphed them more so that we have
keep
like
them underplay until like they were like reveal.
Right.
Like it builds to like, you know, it's like it looks normal, and then when it finally reveals itself like close up, then you know you get you go for the jump scare.
I mean, I'm thinking of like something like the Nun from The Conjuring 2, who has that sort of facial distortion, that morphing. That you do get in House on Haunted Hill a little bit, but it's more nuanced in The Conjuring rather than the kind of like crazy editing that they have to do in House on Haunted Hill to make it look
and this weird
spooky,
like weird goofy like mold that's it's like the house is like the ghost is like a giant mold blob that's just like I'm gonna, you know. Ooh.
Yeah, the evil itself, I guess they call it the darkness. Is I really almost wish they did not include that at all. Like it was just like evil ghosts. Let's just have evil ghosts.
Have the doctor. Why?
Right.
Like why couldn't it just be like the ghost of the doctor going around and he butchers and assimilates people and stuff? Like why? Like making it into this giant like ethereal being.
Yeah, like a blob, amorphous blob type thing.
It's not scary. It's not creepy, and especially with the CGI. Then it looks terrible.
Yeah, I think they could have really gotten away with just having ghosts. Just like these ghosts are murderous, and then it'd
be a again, if you're gonna have Jeffrey Combs doing playing that
doctor,
evil doctor, then have him, like I said.
Why not let him go with it? Because he doesn't get much time at all to be on screen, because most of it is either just in flashback, and then the rest of it is
sometimes when Jeffrey Rush sees him on like the camera.
And
he thinks he's the one that's, doing everything, and he's working with somebody.
And the darkness really takes over for most of like what actually would be the doctor's evil. So it's not really, it seems unnecessary to have both. I think that the darkness itself is pretty foolish because it's so undefinable. It's really undefinable, like what exactly it is or what it's doing. And as you said, it kind of looks like a screensaver from the 90s.
Like a bouncing, like, ooh. Like,
yeah, because it has...
wobbling from, like, side to side and corner to corner.
It has, like, one of those qualities of, like, the expanding, like, web of, of, like, a screensaver that it, like, expands and contracts on your screen. It's very, like, soothing.
And moves around and, like,
And, probably at the time they thought, like, this looks pretty good. This looks pretty clever.
Well, I'm sure, they probably did think that. Like, ooh, yeah.
But now, not so much. I mean, they definitely needed to probably cut the darkness out and just do ghosts, and they would have been a lot better off. And they wouldn't have had to resort to, like, some of that CGI, which then kind of blew their budget on some of the other special effects, which really aren't that well done. Like, I'm thinking of, like, the scene where Stephen Price opens up some sort of closet, and inside he finds all these body parts. Looks straight out of, like, if you just went to a Halloween shop, and you just saw, like,
or your
plastic pieces.
Your science class, like, here's, like, the abdomen, because the way it's, like, cut, like, the abdomen's cut open, it looks like, here's the ribcage and stuff, kids. Like, now today, we're going to learn where the intestines are.
Yeah, they just kind of used some plastic props. It doesn't look like real or scary or gory or anything like that. It kind of looks very sanitized and
cheesy.
Yeah, it's like pale white plastic. I think that some of the special effects don't really work that well. Like, I'm thinking of that one scene where he is in the water. He's kind of having his hallucination, and he sees that the girl and her face is then morphed into like some sort of weird sea anemone that has like, teeth inside the face. Doesn't really look that great. I think a lot of the CGI itself has become very dated and doesn't look that good. Probably some of the the poorer aspects of the film. Although I will say some of the other effects, like when Stephen Price is in the chamber and he sees the picture on the wall slowly turn into a real human figure, I think that's pretty good. I
like that a lot. I think that's really good, you know. As weird and kind of out of place, like, again, like, it's not really explained what the hell the thing is and
why that happens, and
you know, it still looks pretty cool.
Yeah, a lot of those effects are kind of random too, like the hallucination stuff seems very like just thrown in there. You know, we need some stuff that looks weird, so you know, let's just put whatever comes to mind, like 2 women naked, bloody. What's that about? No real rhyme or reason to it. It just kind of happens. So I would say that the scares and the effects are hit or miss, really. I think sometimes they work, sometimes they really don't. And I guess your enjoyment of that will depend on how willing you are to accept that they're in there and just kind of go with it.
Now, talking about earlier about kind of like how I think other films were inspired by this, I think Saw, like the style, like the lighting, and kind of like the setting is like overall to me like seems like Saw kind of like took some inspiration from this.
Mm-hmm.
Just like kind of like the way the lighting is, the way the building's kind of set up. I mean, it like reminds me of like one of like a jigsaw layer.
Yeah.
And like how it's kind of like all over the place. And yeah. Minus the Art Deco, but
the lighting and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, definitely that sort of style.
And so how some of the stuff in here seems like they are, you know, they are literally traps.
True.
You know, and Jigsaw's whole things is traps. I mean,
it's kind of like set up in that same style of, you know, color scheme and stuff like that. It's probably like a 90s, late 2000s or early 2000s style.
No, I agree. And like, you know, because we've seen it with the remake of Texas Chainsaw and like how like other films too that we've done on the podcast, how they, you know, the look and feel of them have that kind of gritty, same kind of greenish lighting.
Right.
Kind of style. But I mean, this to me is kind of like one of the first films that I can remember from this time period that kind of have that. Because at the time, the big horror films, they were all just slashers, and they were at the time were going for more grounded in reality, because the slashers they were being made were all the slashers being made at the time they're humans, like Urban Legend, Scream, and I Know What You Did Last Summer. No supernatural element to it. So in this, like, kind of bringing that in, it has, you know, obviously they kind of stray away from that and go into their own art, you know, more artsy, stylistic style.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you want to talk about before we go into a rating? Anything that comes to mind?
Blockbuster.
Yeah, we talked about that a little bit earlier on, but there is a nice nice shot of the guy who's kind of running security for Stephen Price. He's got a couple Blockbuster video tapes.
You know, you can tell they put some money towards this.
Yeah, right.
Literally have it.
I mean,
so,
it's
like,
very
it's,
apparent.
You know, facing like towards like, hey kid, like, you know, if you didn't see this in theaters, get it at Blockbuster. Yeah,
it's a very apparent advertisement for them.
Would have been better instead of like some random sandwich the guy was eating. He also had like a box of Domino's and a nice cold Pepsi. And while he's done with that, he'll eat some Doritos.
Yeah, that's interesting because obviously a product of the time. Reminiscing, I guess. Probably would have rented this from Blockbuster back in the day.
We didn't have a Blockbuster.
No, we did not. We had a Video World.
And your dad's store before.
Yep.
And Captain Video.
Yep, Captain Video as well. Yep.
Hollywood Video, if you really want to drive all the way out to Johnstown, Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, good times.
Good times.
I don't think you're fully appreciating thinking about video stores and why don't you be kind and rewind?
I used to love video stores, for sure.
Buy some snow caps that are overpriced.
Yeah.
$5.
$3 popcorn. Take that home and watch the movie with it.
Hey, it's a new release. You only get it for 2 days instead of the 5 days. If you wait a couple of months, you can get it for 5 days for the same price.
But anything else besides Blockbuster?
Fucking Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Comes up twice. Sweet Dreams cover.
I hope Dave Stewart got paid well for that.
Interesting.
For the royalties for that.
Because it does really sound like a 90s music video sort of thing that's going on right
well, that's like, and that's too, like, it's going off like the whole style thing. I think like a lot of the style of this too is like literally lifted from 90s music videos. Just like the, creepy, goofy, odd, weird, Beavis and Butthead, 9 Inch Nails, Marilyn Manson. Like I said, like it's very this and the editing too in this is very MTV music video. It's got a lot of it. You can watch this movie and then watch like any random like 1994 like music video. It's like a alt rock song. It's gonna look a lot like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just like Marilyn Manson too, because there's another moment that's sort of like a montage that has a very upbeat and brooding track to it. That's kind of it's like a weird scenario because for the most part, this doesn't really have much other music to it besides the Marilyn Manson song and that one, and then just more atmospheric music after that. So yeah, it definitely does seem like a 90s soundtrack and very much in line with what you would expect to see from some of the music videos of the time. So it's probably somewhat influenced or even directed by somebody who did some 90s music videos. But other than that, I don't really have anything else for this. You? I think we pretty much hit on most of it that we wanted to cover.
Yeah. It's not definitely not Robert Kurtzman's best working effects.
Yeah, no. Oh, one thing that we didn't talk about real quick is the ending, because the ending does have
it's a shitty ending.
It's weird. It's
makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense. So both Sarah and Tate Diggs' character make it out alive. They actually end up outside of the house. Puff Eddie. They actually make it outside of the house. And it is morning, so they've survived the night, and they are entitled to their $1 million prize.
No, they get everyone's.
Well, they're entitled to their own, but they also get everyone who died.
That was the deal.
And so they find that the envelope with all of the checks have been slipped under the window or whatever they've escaped out of, even though they're on the top floor of the building.
On a cliffside.
Overlooking a giant ocean or whatever it's supposed to be.
Well, it's set in LA, so you can assume it's supposed to be the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah. And so they open it up, it's all the checks. And so we have to assume that for some reason, the darkness has granted them all these checks. They're like, I'm thinking the darkness was like, well done. I guess credit where credit's due. We have to give you the money. Yep.
We're gonna have to con you somehow to come back here to try to kill you again, so I can be at ease.
But I don't really understand the whole idea of like why the darkness would grant them the checks.
Well, you're supposed to assume it's Stephen. Okay, kind of run down like the last 5 minutes of this film because it doesn't make any sense. I'll give Stephen Price, Jeffrey Rush Stephen Price credit. He's kind of wily to survive all the things that happened to be one of the, final three. It's pretty cool, especially like the way like Chris Kattan ends up getting killed and he survives. I think that's actually pretty funny how like he's like, open the goddamn door and knocking on it. Chris Kattan hesitates to open it up, and then the darkness is coming for Price, and he like just steps out of the way and it bursts through the door and takes Kattan instead, and he's able to live for a couple more minutes. And I think that that's just pretty cool. And then just the way he's like, the house is fucking haunted. That son of a bitch is right. And they run to the attic because they think like, oh, that will be safe there, I guess.
Right.
And that's where they stumble upon the security system because they were trying to find. Because Chris Kattan thought it was in the basement. He was wrong. And so they get when they get into the attic, and Price is able to try to get it to to operate so they can try to escape. When he sees the darkness is going to kill Sarah, he sacrifices himself. And at no point in this film has he shown himself to be kind of like have any noble characteristics. He's kind of a prick. The only thing I can think of is you're supposed to be like, oh, maybe he sacrifices himself because he's like, well, I put these poor bastards in this situation, and these two aren't assholes. Everyone else here is an asshole.
I mean, maybe, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of why he would he sacrifices himself to save the two. But at the same time, Sarah is able to escape, and then the darkness cuts, the cord, and the thing closes, and it's about to, kill Eddie, Puff Eddie, and then Chris Kattan's ghost somehow breaks away from the darkness to, raise the shutter open so he can escape. So how the hell, how did he break away?
Why did he break away?
Why wasn't he wasn't, he was assimilated, and we've seen everyone else that got assimilated.
Yeah,
that
it doesn't really make much sense.
Even though, Evelyn and Steven and Blackburn make sense to be kind of trapped in the darkness because they got, kind of dark hearts. Bridget Wilson as Melissa, there's nothing really that shows she's a bad person. She's just a, attention whore. That's it. It's not like she's a bad person. We don't really, because they don't really expound.
There's no character development for her.
Yeah, for you to. So that whole, whole bit makes no sense, and it just ends with them oh, how do we get down from here? Yeah. The end. And it's oh, that's so fucking, so fucking stupid. And not only that, we didn't even. One thing we gotta talk about too is the whole darkness in this thing is being held by a fucking
brick wall.
No, not even a brick wall because the brick's not even fully laid down. Someone was trying to brick it up but didn't. And it's literally sheet, a slither of sheetrock.
Yeah.
That's that keeps the darkness from fully coming out to kill these people.
Mm.
It's able to kind of creep out and, with the ghost and stuff, but it can't fully escape. But with this little paper thin thing, wall of sheetrock is keeping it in, and it's only until Jeffrey Rush throws Famke Janssen through it that the darkness hey, come out to play now.
Yeah.
It's so, it's
it's a dumb way to have the darkness come out, but
so it makes no sense. What was it? Was there a fucking an occult circle underneath that
assault circle,
or something?
Yeah. That held it in place.
I don't know. It's just...
All right, so out of 10 Marilyn Manson songs, what would you give House on Haunted Hill?
I'll give it a 6.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. I think that it's probably 6 just because some of it hasn't aged well, obviously. Definitely needs to have had some more character development and a little bit more time to let the initial riot and stuff play out. Unlike you, I don't really think that Jeffrey Rush is great as a Vincent Price stand-in. And
well, obviously, he's not gonna.
No,
there's only one Vincent Price.
I'm just saying, I didn't think his portrayal was particularly effective. And other than that, some of the darkness, I don't really think is necessary. So some of that could have been really cut out in order to just focus more on murder and the ghosts. So 6 for me as well.
I mean, to me, it's a 6. I think I do like Jeffrey Rush. I know he's he's nowhere near perfect, to being an homage to Vincent Price, but I still enjoy it, and I think he's having a lot of fun with the role and enjoying being the character, and he's got the most character out of anybody in this by a mile. I think so I really enjoy him. I enjoy, Famke Janssen. Peter Gallagher. Even though he doesn't have much to do, I do think he's just plays a great smarmy asshole. Chris Kattan, though, I made fun of him and say his casting choice is questionable. He's actually not too bad in this. He playing the neurotic drunk asshole. I think he's got some pretty funny lines, from our opening, give me my goddamn money, Hans. I want my goddamn money. It's he's not too terrible, but everyone else is just kind of there. I think the twist and new take that they've given to this film, I like the idea. I think it has a lot of promise. I think they just did not execute it nearly as well as it could have been done. I think, and I think this could actually benefit. This isn't like like I said before, like a rare instance where I think that it could benefit from a remake. I think if they were to remake House on Haunted Hill today and kind of do what they were trying to do with this, except go more into like the character, go more into like the pulpiness of the whodunit, but adding that real actual supernatural element to it in the setting that in the world they built here, I think it could be a very interesting and a very enjoyable horror film.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And to me, that's part of the enjoyment. I do even though it is goofy and it is very much like I know what they're trying to do when they have those cliffside shots of the asylum on the cliff. It's supposed to be like the original and be hey, look, it's kind of like a cheap looking thing. I get what they're going for that, but at the same time, I think it's corny. But at the same time, I love the Art Deco look that it's
right.
And yeah,
all right, there you have it. Remakeoween number 4.
You put Batman in this film, it'd be like Batman in Arkham Asylum.
All right, so what's next week? I'm thinking the Evil Dead remake.
Oh, we're gonna do that?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Because we got one more week of no, actually, I think it's 2 more. Yeah. 2 more before Friday the 13th. So I think we'll do the Evil Dead.
We got one more.
One more.
It's just this one.
So we got one more week. So I think we'll do Evil Dead for next week, and then Friday the 13th remake. So
and then Nightmare.
So there's your schedule. You can find us on iTunes and Stitcher, anything else like that. So leave us a nice review and subscribe to us on there. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Blood and Black Rum. We also have an email at bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com. Find us on our website, bloodandblackrumpodcast.wordpress.com, and we're also on Cultsploitation Podcast Network at cultsploitation.com. We also have a Patreon that you can donate to. It's patreon.com/bloodandblackrumpodcast. You can donate as much or as little as you want to, and that comes out monthly, so just keep that in mind when you do your pledge. Other than that, thank you for listening. We hope you check us out on any of those areas, and stay with us as we continue our Remakeoween series for Halloween. We'll be back next week with the Evil Dead remake, and we've got a lot more coming at you, so stay with us. Thank you for listening.
Take care.